Hi everybody, this is a lesson on how to factor polynomials. In the past few days we've been looking at multiplying binomials like this problem. We called it expanding or simplifying or just multiplying polynomials. Take a moment and just multiply these two together. Pause the video and do that first, and then we'll talk about it. I'll wait. Okay, so when you were multiplying these together, maybe you did the box method, the area method that we talked about in class. It kind of goes like this. If we'll set this up with an x minus 6 there, and we have an x plus 5 here, and we divide it up. And we multiply x times x is x squared, x times negative 6 is negative 6x, x times the 5 is plus 5x, and over here in this box we're going to put the negative 6 times the plus 5, that's minus 30. Oops, sorry about that. Minus 30. And then we combine some like terms. We write it out. We got x squared minus 6x plus 5x minus 30. And if we combine like terms, we get x squared minus 1x minus 30. Now the reason I had you do that first is because it's really important that we recognize where some of these come from. Note that this x squared comes from the x times the x and shows up right there in the box. And the minus 30 comes, oops, let me do that in a slightly different color so it may be easier to see. The minus 30 comes from the 5 times the negative 6 and just shows up in that box. And we don't have to combine anything to get those two terms. They just kind of show up. Let's do the same thing now, and let's factor this. What I want to do is break up this polynomial, x squared minus 11x plus 24, into two binomials. So ultimately, the final answer is going to look like a multiplication problem. We're going to work the problem backwards. So let's start here. We're going to start with our box. And since it's an x squared problem, it's going to be a binomial times a binomial. So when I put it in the box, I know x squared goes there, and I know the plus 24 goes there, just like we did before. And so all I have to do is figure out what goes in the top and what goes in these other boxes. Well, let's see. X squared, there's only one way to break up x squared, and that's x by x. So that's not too bad. 24, there's a couple ways to break up 24. So again, remember this negative 30 came from the 5 times the negative 6. So it's what multiplies to give us negative 30. It's what multiplies to give us positive 24. And I can think of a couple things. Let's try a plus 6 and a plus 4. If I do it that way, these other two spaces, this first one's going to have a x times positive 6, that's plus 6x. And here I'm going to have a plus 4 times x, that's a plus 4x. And so I end up with x squared plus 6x plus 4x plus 24 if I were to do that. But note the 6x and the 4x don't add up to what I want. I want an 11x, actually a negative 11x. So the 6 and the 4 might not have been the best choice for the 24. So let's take that out and let's try something else. Let's see, what else multiplies to give me 24? Oh, I know, 8 and 3. So if I do 8 and 3, that still multiplies to 24. Here I'll get a plus 8x, and here I'll get a plus 3x. And so plus 8 plus 3. Oh, but wait, that's plus 11x. I want minus 11x. Oh, wait a minute. Instead of multiplying 3 times 8 to get 24, what if I multiplied negative 8 times negative 3? I'll still get a positive 24. But the negative 8 times x gives me minus 8x. And the x times the negative 3 gives me a minus 3x. And so that changes the signs down here to minus 8x minus 3x. And that'll get me to the 11x. So how do I break this up? Well, I can see my two binomials are x minus 8 and x minus 3. So what we've got is we've taken our x squared minus 11x plus 24 and we've turned it into a multiplication problem, x minus 8 times x minus 3. So those two are equivalent. The top one is standard form, this is factored form, and we've turned standard form into factored form.